Hello, graduates. Give yourselves a hand. This is awesome. I can tell that there's some great plans that are going to be accomplished in the next few years. You guys have some big dreams, otherwise you would not be sitting here. I want to share a few things with you, and I want you to really grab a hold of what I'm going to share. I want to give you the truth about your dream. I want to share with you something that I call competing for your dream. Competing for a dream is a competition. And we hear about competitions every day. You see it in the media. You have actors, entertainers, athletes competing, the business world, even in the educational community. Now, it is true that you have to learn, like all of us, how you're going to compete for your dream. It is a competition. But one thing we must understand is, who is our competition? Most people, I believe, go through life and they never find out or realize where the competition is coming from. Who's their competitor? Now, I believe that your greatest competitor is yourself. That's your greatest competitor. You see, there's a voice inside of you that says, I can. Then there's a voice inside of you that says, I can't. There's a side of you that's fearful, and there's a side of you that's courageous. Which voice will you listen to? Which side will you choose on your journey in life? Now, I have gone after many dreams, goals. I'm not that old. I'm only 52 years old, but I can tell you I've gone after a few. And the reality is, it's not easy. As a matter of fact, it's downright unpleasant at times. You see, you're going to have to challenge yourself almost every turn you take when you're going after your dream. That involves reading tons of books, listening and learning from great leaders, getting rejected and getting up, getting rejected and getting up, and getting rejected and getting up one more time. So as you pursue your dream, I want to share competing for your dream. I love sports. I believe in education. And I want to give you this sports analogy. So competing for your dream is like playing a football or a basketball game all 4 quarters. And you have to understand the tempo of the game. In each quarter, there's a different tempo in the game. And if you apply these truths to your life, you have a better chance of victory. So let's compete in this game just for a few minutes. The first quarter of this game that you begin, you have to understand going into your dream that there's no guarantees. But I guarantee you one thing. If you're not willing to make sacrifices, the dream will never happen. I once studied the great life of Walt Disney. Walt Disney was a man. He's not just a theme park. For those of you that do not know that. Did you know that Walt Disney went to World War I when he was 16 years old to enlist in the army in France? They wouldn't enlist him because he was too young. So he became an ambulance driver. He came back to the United States and began to pursue his dream of producing these animated films. And he spent so much money, and he traded so much time, and he had so much heartache going from one place to the next. At times, he didn't have a place to stay. And he did this without any guarantees. So my question is, will you pursue your dream knowing that there's no guarantees? Will you still go after it? Quarter number 1, there's no guarantees. Quarter number 2, the dream is not just about you. You see, when you accomplish something important, it's only important if you have helped or inspired someone else. That's really why I love to hear the stories my mother used to tell me about Dr. Martin Luther King when she marched with him when she was a young girl. But what I like about Martin Luther King so much is his dream included everyone. It was not just about him. He did not set the tempo to establish his own agenda. He included everyone. And because of Martin Luther King, we are enjoying each other's company, and we're honoring you tonight. That's quarter number 2. Quarter number 3, your dream has an expiration date. It can't expire. So I encourage you to move out and go after your dream. However, keep in mind that you can't be in a rush. There are 2 particular cars that I think about that are sold every year in the United States. One car takes 13 hours to manufacture. The second car takes 6 months to manufacture. Now, they both have very strict guidelines and expiration times that they need to get done so those cars can be sold. Now, one car is the 13-hour car. That's a Toyota. The car that takes 6 months to produce is a Rolls Royce. Now, I am not endorsing that you spend your life going after material gain and making that your life's purpose. But I will challenge you as you build your life and you build your dreams, think about becoming that Rolls Royce as a person. Quarter number 1. Quarter number 2 and 3. We are on quarter number 4. Quarter number 4, trust your preparation. Don't panic and just be ready to perform. Many of you, I'm sure, have taken tests. You've studied. You've meditated on the career that you would like to have. And there's going to come a time when you're going to have to trust that you prepared enough. There's going to come a time when you say, you know, I can't panic. It's time to perform. It reminds me back in 1984. I ran track for Forest Hill High School. Any Falcons in the? Let's go Falcons. Back in 1984, I found myself in the triple jump at the regional state meet. And that was my event. I love the triple jump. And I was about to go down the runway, and I never forget this. One of the assistant coaches, Lee McLean, who was a great educator for years. Some of you may know Coach McLean. I was on the runway, and he looked at me. He says, Mark, what place are you in? How many jumps do you have left? I looked at Coach. The runway's here, and he's to my left looking at the bleachers. And I was at Showalter Field in Orlando, Florida. I never forget it. I said, Coach, I have 1 jump left, and I'm in 7th place. He dropped his head. And immediately, I shifted my attention back on the runway. I could not look at him. He was a very positive coach. He pushed us, but I could not look at his face because I had to pay attention to what I needed to do. And I wanted to go to States. I'd never made it to States in anything else. So I went down that runway with the best form I could, the best belief that I possibly could, and I hit the board and went to the air and landed. And I said, man, it had to be a good jump. But I wasn't sure because I was waiting on the measurement. And sure enough, with that 1 jump, I made it to States. And not only that, set the record back home in the Palm Beach County. And it was a great day for me. Most of you have been in that situation. You can't give up. Sometimes you have one more move. I'll close with this story. There was a story about a businessman that needed to take a break from his business. And he loved to tour art museums. That was how he refreshed himself. So he made arrangements and he flies into this great metropolitan city, gets his hotel room, and the next morning he shows up to go on this tour of this incredible art museum. The lady giving the tour meets him, and they exchange pleasantries, and he meets everyone else in the tour, and they're off, touring one painting after another. 30 minutes into the tour, they stop in one particular room, and his attention is drawn to this one particular painting, where he stood there for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and the group had moved on. And he's staring at this painting. And on this painting, one side, there was this dark, gruesome, demonic-looking figure. And on the other side of the painting, there was a man with his hands clutched to his head, and he's in despair, and he's sweating, and it looks like death was on his face. In the middle between them, there was a table with a chessboard on it, and the name of the painting was Checkmate. Well, another hour goes by. He's still standing, looking at this painting. Well, about that time, the tour comes back around, and the lady who's giving the tour, she notices he's still in the room, and she comes up to him and says, "Sir, why are you still here? Did you get lost? What happened? You paid all this money. You missed some great art. Why are you still here?" He's still in the same spot with his eyes fixed on this painting. And he turns to her, and he said, "Ma'am, this painting is all wrong." She says, "What do you mean?" I'm sure the artist knew what he was doing. He said, "No, ma'am, I've been here for 2 hours, and I'm quite sure this painting is all wrong." He says, "You see, I'm a grand champion in chess. And from the look of this picture on this chessboard, this man still has one more move." So I want to encourage you tonight, whether it's a family situation, whether it's you're being bullied or picked on and you don't feel like you're enough, somewhere you have one more move. And I want to challenge you to choose to listen to that courageous voice. Tune out the fearful voice. I like to always honor my parents. They were long-time educators. They were in the education system for 35 years. And yes, I'm from Belle Glade. I just want to leave you with this. Expect the best of yourself. Be honest with yourself. My parents, Reginald and Patricia Murray, they took us to a place from Belle Glade. We moved from Belle Glade to Wellington back in the mid-'70s, and I watched my parents be very diligent in everything that they did. And even though my parents did very well at the time, my mother still took us out to the bean fields to pick beans. I still did my chores in the home. Even though I was this football star, I still did those simple things. And I encourage you to do the same. Expect the best of yourself. Be honest with yourself. And when you achieve a dream, dream another one. Thank you.